Is it getting hot here, or is it just me? It's Monday, October 3rd. Welcome to Hot Seat. Today we're going to be talking about, is basketball now football? Well, we're about to find out. I'll talk about that later in the show. But Wisconsin has fired their head coach earlier this week. It was actually yesterday, Sunday, October 2nd. After not a great start. How many years has he been there? 3 years now? Ooh, I think that's a smart decision because, Wisconsin's going nowhere. Once again, another, just like Nebraska, another hype year. Expect to play really great this year. Make some noise in the Big Ten. Didn't happen. Once again, they're bottom of the conference. Smart move. I think it's a smart move. And he's been on the hot seat for the last all year pretty much. And I think that's the smart decision. He needs to go. He needs to get out of there. And now is the perfect time because now Wisconsin has plenty of time to get ready for next year. And recruiting just getting about to start. So perfect timing. Let's see how... obviously Wisconsin probably is going to struggle the rest of the year, but it will help in the future years, you Wisconsin fans. Oh, also, Colorado fired their head coach and defensive coordinator. They are winless this year. When your coach is winless and you just lose to an FCS team, he needs to get out there again. And come on, what is going on with coaches these years? Why are so many coaches getting fired right now? I think that they should be able to maybe finish their season and see how they do. But also, the reason why they fired this time is because, we already know that they're not going to have a great rest of their season because they just fired their head coach, and their interim head coach might make them worse. But it helps because now they have a chance to see, all right, who's going to be next in line. It gives them a chance to get a head start on who's going to be their next head coach. And also, sometimes you may not even hire them until the offseason, but if you have a good idea and you had your pick before, the season ends, that person can get a head start on recruiting before the season ends. All right, next up, we got some TV deals that not really conference trying to get deals with the media. It's more like the media is trying to get a deal with your TV providers. And this is a big one because, this Saturday, if you were a Dish or Sling TV customer, you missed a big week in college football. Because, again, if you're a college football fan, you have Dish and Sling TV, you do know that most of the college football games are on ESPN. Well, Disney, owns ESPN, and they went dark on Sling TV and Dish this weekend. And apparently, they were in the middle of negotiating it 2 months in advance before it expired this weekend. And apparently, according to Dish CEO, Dish just left the meeting on the 30th, on September 30th, and they had no choice to take the channels off, making customers frustrated, and they're blaming Disney for it. And they're right. Everyone should blame Disney. Disney is trying to take the channels off. And every TV provider goes through this. AT&T, Cox, YouTube TV, all every TV writer out there goes through all of these, having trouble. And it's not just Disney either. I mean, I've seen Discovery do that too. And a lot of other things. NBC, Fox, they all do that. And here's the big question. Alright, here's what you need to know. Disney was trying to raise the price by $1 billion for the same channels they all pay for the same length deal that they previous had, which means that if Dish took that deal, your price would have been your next monthly price would have doubled pretty much. They don't want that. They want customers to pay the cheapest possible plan they can while they still make money. Alright? So you just have to suffer missing a couple of weeks. Thank goodness it was only 1 week. I mean, a poor week, but I mean, it's back. I mean, just time for Monday Night Football tonight. But I mean, like, you'll just have to suffer missing a couple weeks. Hopefully it doesn't go too long, a month, maybe. That's the longest if they can get it going. But I mean, you need to put pressure on the media, alright? They're the ones raising the prices, wanting more money for the same channels they offer. That's my big question right now. Alright, I'm putting Disney, and not just Disney, I mean, all the media things that have linear channels on the hot seat right now. Quit raising your prices! I get it if you, like, add more channels, alright? And maybe, I mean, I get it, you raised it up just a little bit, but $1 billion more? That's crazy talk. Come on. I mean, no wonder the prices go up each year for YouTube TV, Hulu, Sling, a bunch of these other streaming services. They're supposed to be the cheap one, but they're pretty much lately, they're lining up with cable now because they're having a hard time getting good, reasonable deals now. Alright, that's it. That's all I have to talk about for that, but I just wanted to get that out there. Alright, next up, now on to some actual news to talk about, or some more better debates. I got the big storylines out here now. Now, who deserves the number 1 spot? The AP poll has switched Alabama and Georgia throughout the season, and yet again, they did it again. Alabama now has the number 1 spot. What is going on? Oh, Alabama nearly loses to Texas. Let's put Georgia at number 1. Georgia nearly loses to Kent State and Missouri. Let's put Alabama back in our spot. Oh, I know. Let's put the team that hasn't had a close loss yet. A team that's been dominating all season long. Who could that be? Maybe number 3, Ohio State, like I've been saying all season long. Ohio State deserves that number 1 spot. I've been saying it all season long. They haven't shown any weakness at all. Yeah, they really hasn't played that best of a defense as expected, but they're getting better. I mean, they haven't played a close game yet. Majority of their games have been pretty big wins, alright? Give them that number 1 spot they deserve. I think Alabama and Georgia, I think the way they're playing, they will get a loss, and I think we will see Ohio State in that 1 spot eventually later on this year. But, you know, once again, this week, what proves that my statement with Ohio State still proves that they deserve the number 1 spot. Alright? Wow, I can't believe the AP poll. And also, once again, it took Kansas until week 5. Kansas is 5-0. TCU 4-0 to finally be ranked. But though ranked, Florida just 1 week after beating Utah. And yet they fall out of the rankings just a week later. Yeah, they'll rank a higher team if they're known for football in the past. But if you're not known for football, like a basketball school like Kansas, they have a couple decent wins. And they think, should we rank them? Should we not? How are they doing? They're not really a football school. Yeah, so, I mean, just because there's history that they haven't won in the past 10 years doesn't mean they won't be in the future. Things change. Rank Kansas! Come on! Well, guess what? They finally got their answer. Alright, they're number 19. TCU is 17. Wow, they're a little lower than I expected, but still, they are ranked. I'm happy. Alright, Texas is another example. Even though they played Alabama close, they still lost that game, and they ranked them. What? And 2 weeks later, they lost, not ranked anymore. Guess what? They didn't even get a vote. What? Yeah, you heard me. If they're known for football in the past, and they have just one good game against a ranked opponent, we'll rank them. No questions asked. But you see a basketball school having the time of their lives, looking really great. Let's give them until week 5 to rank them. Oh yeah, guess what? You remember last month when I talked about, oh wow, Kansas beat West Virginia. They're number 1 in the Big 12. Let's see how long they'll last. Guess what? They're still number 1. 5-0. Wow. How long? Now I'm going to ask, how long will this last? This time, I'm reversing it. Guess what? Who is 9 right now? Oklahoma. Yeah. Oklahoma is 9th in the Big 12. How long will that last? We're going to find out. They got Texas this week, and we're going to get our true answers on Oklahoma and Texas this week. And I bet you the winner of that game will be ranked. 90% sure the winner of Red River Rivalry will be ranked. Speaking of basketball schools, they're having a blast right now. I mean, we got Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, there's, I think, Arizona. There's a lot of good. Oh, Kentucky. Man, all the Blue Bell power schools in basketball are having a time of their lives right now in football. Yeah, the basketball schools that usually don't do so great in football are winning right now. I mean, majority of them don't even have a loss yet, or just have one loss, and their losses are good, decent teams. They have good wins too. And we got Kansas and TCU this week, so we're gonna see the true Kansas this week, because I mean that TCU is for real. Oh my goodness, that running back! Wow, man, that team can run some offense. Also, yeah, a couple weeks ago we had Duke, Kansas. That put on a show too. Duke is not no joke either. I mean, they may not be as good as Kansas this year or North Carolina, but I mean, do not sleep on these basketball schools. Yeah, we got basketball in October. Yep, you read that right. Basketball in October is here. All right. Now you're probably wondering, why am I even talking about this? This isn't a hot seat question. Well, I'm gonna make it. Now that I can see that you guys are winning, hold it! You found a way to win games, especially Kentucky. They look amazing right now. That will last. The question is, can North Carolina? They're struggling, but they're getting there. Duke, again, struggling, getting there. Can they hold it together? Can they keep it going for more years to come? We'll find out in about 5 years if they can have it. Now, come back to this video in 5 years and see if those basketball schools are still good enough by week 5. Next up, I got a hot seat question for Jimbo Fisher. He's got the number 1 recruiting class this year. He's going to be number 1 next year. And guess who they lose to once again? Yep, that's right. They lost App State earlier this season. Last week, Mississippi State. What is going on with the #1 recruiting class? I'm not even going to call them Texas A&M. I'm going to just call them #1 recruiting class because that's what they are, and they are not playing like that. Wow, they had 2 losses this year. They're not ranked. And guess who they had this week? Yep, that's right, Alabama. Yep, the most hyped game this year because of what those two said. And it's mainly for this 2 seasons. Basically, what these 2 head coaches were debating about all off-season long about how A&M are paying their players to come in and pay for them, how they managed to get the #1 recruiting class, and how Alabama and Nick Saban does things the right way, not paying players, just get them to come, at the right moment and the traditional way. And once again, this game will once prove Alabama should be better than A&M should be better than Alabama based on talent, but they're not. You see that right there? Alabama's #1. They're still doing it the traditional way. A&M, not even ranked. Did they even get a vote this week? What is going on? Well, we're going to get our answer right here. I put Jimbo Fisher on the hot seat. I will say this. Yeah, you lost last year, but I mean, you can't lose to App State, Mississippi State the next year, alright? You can't lose those games. That's what hurts you. So, I'm not putting Jimbo Fisher on the hot seat. I am putting the players, or the recruiting class, on the hot seat. Future recruits. I gotta say, if you're really committed to A&M, you better think twice. Pay very close to... If you're committed to A&M, pay very close to that team. Is that a team, is that a coaching staff you want to play for? Do you want to go there for the money, or do you want to win? If you want to go there for the money, go to A&M. If you want to win games, go somewhere else. Alright, because I also saw that recently this past week. A&M got the #1 defensive player in recruiting. And guess what? His family didn't look, his dad looked happy because he looked like he got money. I could definitely tell in their expression. There was a lot of money involved they just got, but the player and the mom, they were like, and they were very close to Oklahoma and some other good schools too that I think he rather should have gone to anyway. Yeah, they didn't look too happy. I think that he would rather go somewhere and win than earn money. Alright, back to talking about Oklahoma and Texas. Alright, so, when was the last time these two played each other and they weren't ranked? That was 1998. So who am I putting on the hot seat here? Oklahoma and Texas. Well, no. I'm putting on the hot seat here SEC, alright? So, possibly next year, maybe at least in the next 2 years, Oklahoma and Texas join the SEC. These are 2 football powerhouse programs. Yeah, they are really great in other sports, but it's mainly because of football, of the move. Alright? And SEC, do you really want Oklahoma and Texas to join your conference knowing that they are likely at the way they're heading right now, what we had in the season so far, we're heading to the bottom of the Big 12. And yet, all anyone's been seeing the last 10 years is that the Big 12 is run by Oklahoma and Texas. Not even Texas anymore, it's just run by Oklahoma. And just what happened the past couple of this year especially, now Oklahoma's getting a hard time struggling. And yeah, they got a new head coach, Brett Venables. But again, what I saw against Kansas State TCU, Oklahoma's in trouble. And I don't know if they can fix it or not. I mean, we got to see some good recruiting. They're getting recruiting. Now I just got to see execution. Alright? Now the thing is, SEC, you really want these 2 teams? I mean, look at the Big 12. Baylor won the Big 12 last year. Oklahoma State, the highest ranked Big 12 team right now. I mean, yeah, Oklahoma State has lost like 90-19 in Bedlam, but they're looking at, they won it last year, and they're looking to change it. They're looking to change the record. And they're looking to take Oklahoma out before they head out, alright? So it's quite possible. Will Oklahoma and Texas be the next Vanderbilt in the SEC? That's my question I want to ask you, and I will probably likely ask that next year because... Alright, so who's going to be now I'm going to ask who, now that Kansas is 5-0, although it may be too early to tell, but who's going to be the new Kansas in the Big 12? Is it going to be West Virginia? I mean, they look pretty good too. I mean, there's no team in the Big 12 that has a losing record right now. So we'll just have to wait and find out, but the Big 12 is better than what the media gives them credit for. Are they all just beating each other up, or are they all really good teams and they're just beating each other up? I mean, we're going to find out. I mean, all of them had great non-conference games. Alright, so we're about to find out and get an answer. Alright, here is one big thing I saw this week. There were way too many injuries, and there was one specific injury that happened more. Head injuries, concussion injuries, head and neck injuries. What is going on in the sport of football? I mean, it kind of gives the hint with Tua. I mean, just last week, Tua got a head injury. He looked a little woozy getting up. He didn't play the rest of the game. But Thursday, he suited up, played, and probably had one of the worst injuries I've ever seen. Thank goodness what the media staff says that he's going to be okay. Wow. I mean, that was not a pretty picture, and he should not have played that game at all. They're not about health and safety, and I think after that hit, I think we're going to take player safety a little better now. And what I saw in college football Saturday didn't seem like they were doing anything. I mean, yeah, they took them out, but we're going to get our answer. Are some of these players going to play the next week? I mean, Dillon Gabriel, targeting call, he slid. Was that intentional hit? I mean, it's hard to tell. The TCU player immediately like, okay, I shouldn't have done that. Immediately regret it. But again, he chose to do that. I mean, he had time to back out of it, to miss him. Alright? So, my question is, how are we going to fix this? I mean, I've seen way too many injuries, and then there's one person that almost got paralyzed. I mean, I'm still waiting. I mean, it was all negative. And once again, another OU player who had a spine injury, alright? He was on the field for about over 10 minutes. Alright? Is a defensive player. And these are all starters. Alright? And it's not just on Oklahoma. I saw all over college football. I mean, almost every game. I mean, I think LSU and Auburn game had it. I think it was an LSU player. He was carted off the field. I saw so many players get carted off the field this weekend. Alright? We need to get this fixed. Medical staff need to reanalyze and reevaluate how players get hit, how tackling. You gotta relook at how these football players hit each other, and these officials, the NCAA, needs to fix the targeting rule right now. Come on. There were a lot of targeting that they missed, that they didn't call. And there were a lot of targeting that I saw that they picked that wasn't really targeting. I mean, if you're going to have targeting as a call, you got to call it when you see it. And also, don't call it when it's not there, because I saw a lot of that too. But again, I like it when you see it. Oh, you see targeting, you see it helmet to helmet. Throw it. Just throw it. And you can view it, take it off. That's why they had the review for the targeting, because you could take that off. If you're uncertain, throw the flag anyway. They'll take a look at it, take it off. No, you made a mistake. No big deal. I'm fine with that. But, I mean, if you don't throw that flag on a targeting call, that's where people get upset, alright? And I saw a lot of that, too, alright? I've seen more non-targeting calls than targeting calls that should have been, if that makes any sense. I mean, I'm tired of seeing these. Yeah, college football is a fun sport to watch. It is meant to get tackles. I like to see hard-hitting tackles. I'm a defensive guy. I like to see those defensive hits. But also, I care about player safety too. And these players do not know how to tackle right. That needs to get fixed. And I don't think it's NCAA's fault with the targeting rule. I think it's a coaching problem. It's the way that these coaches are coaching these players. I think it mainly comes down to high school because they're not taught how to hit properly, and it moves to college, and it still doesn't get fixed there. And I think that's also the main reason why Oklahoma had a lot of injuries in that game and struggled defensively against Kansas State and TCU. Alright, if you want to hear, that's all I'm going to talk about on this show, but I'm going to talk about a lot more about player safeties and all these injuries on the Slay Report podcast. So if you can check out my Slay Report podcast. This week I'm going to be serious to talk about player safety, injuries, how I'm telling it more, just what I said on about that. Anyway, sorry to bring you down, but that's just a serious topic I need to talk about. Anyway, let's wrap up the show as I am just almost at 30 minutes. Alright, so, college football fans, you are probably interrupted not just by Sling TV and Disney, but also Aaron Judge. Yep, he's at it again this weekend. That guy just all he does is take walks and strikes out. Yep, that's what American learned. He's going for 62, and it was just a disappointment. ESPN is really trying hard. They want to be the network that shows, hey, we got Aaron Judge hitting 62 live. We don't care about you college football fans. We want to know that we showed you him breaking history of a team history. Not a league history, a team history. Yeah, he's still 7 home runs away from breaking the league home run for the season. And to me, I honestly think at the rate he's going and what I've been seeing the last 2 Saturdays, he doesn't seem to be breaking that anytime soon. All I've learned is that he just likes to strike out and, well, really, they keep getting him walks. I mean, it's just really embarrassing. And they do it, ESPN does it in key game moments, alright? It's not like, oh, they're breaking in like, oh, we're doing it during a commercial break or in between plays. No, they're doing it live action college football game. Most of them, they do it in a time where I would rather watch that, not only do, I may not even be a fan of the game I'm watching, college football game, but, come on. It's a close game. If you're going to do that, pick a network that, is in a big blowout or whatever, a game that no one cares about. Or just do it in the New York area. Just any college football game going on in New York, just do it regional. The whole world doesn't know it. They mainly did it against Oklahoma TCU. Yeah, it was a blowout. But again, do Oklahoma and Texas fans care about the New York Yankees? No, they do not. And also, do you happen to notice that last week, Monday Night Football with the Giants versus the Cowboys? Yeah, they didn't interrupt it during that game. I wonder why. The Giants, New York Yankees. I'm sure those fans would have loved to see them break in during that and see their player do it. The Cowboy fan probably wouldn't be too happy, and they won that game. But again, the Giant fans would have probably loved to see them interrupt their game, especially since they weren't playing well against the Cowboys. But anyway, I think we'll likely see it throughout the season. How else am I gonna do it? The college fans do not like it. If you're a college football fan, you can watch football. If you want to watch baseball, you can go watch baseball somewhere else. That's why the technology we have, streaming services, and your cable provider gets you like 100 channels to choose from. So, I mean, and these streaming providers, you can pay a subscription to see these games. You want to watch that game, you can go ahead. Go watch that game. You got an option. But I'm here to watch that one football game that you keep interrupting. Alright. Well, let's check out what's going around the network as I conclude this month's episode of Hot Seat. Don't forget to check out Slate Report podcast every Monday, 6 o'clock. I'm getting serious this week about players' injuries and safety. Also, every Monday, don't forget to watch our college football recap show, Down and Distant, although this week it's actually going to be on a Wednesday because of this episode and this show every Monday month. Every month on a Monday, 6:30, the show Hot Seat, and our pickup show, American Game every Saturday at 10 a.m. And also, if you haven't already, check out our website for the latest news, scores, stats, etc. Alright, that's what's going around the network. Trying to get through this. Thanks for watching. Hot Seat. See ya November 7th for the next episode. And hopefully I can get down distance on this same day. Probably not, because I'm really trying to get these shows looking really good. Anyway, thank you for watching Hot Seat. I'll see you next time.